Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Tom's Corner. Here you can hear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Okay, let's get into the lesson today. Why the 10 tribes separated from the other two. Now, anybody know who the other two are? Raise your hand. One is Judah. Who's the other one? They stay together. Benjamin, tribe of Benjamin. Okay? Now, let's go on. 2 Chronicles 10 and 11. For whereas my father put a heavy yoke upon you, now this is it, please note this is referring to Solomon as the father, I will put more to your yoke. My father chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. Number 12, so Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam. Rehoboam is the son of who? Raise your hand, huh? That's right. If you said Solomon, that is right. Okay, now, so Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam on the third day, as the king bade, saying, come again to me on the third day. Now, 13, and the king answered them roughly. And King Rehoboam forsook the counsel of the old men. The old man told him, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Don't keep putting a heavy burden on them people. Don't do that. But, as people often do when they're younger, no, let's go on. And 14, and he answered them after the advice of the young man. Notice who he listened to here. He listened to the young man, which we know if you're a young man, you don't know squat. And that's about the gist of it. Saying, my father made your yoke heavy. Now you got to understand something. Solomon did extract money and goods from the 10 tribes. And it was a heavy burden. Okay? And they never did like that. But look at what Solomon did. He built him a giant edifice, but you got to understand something here. His daddy, Solomon's daddy, David. Go back and get your Bible so you read it, so you're not, I'm Fibber, McGee, and Molly telling you that. David had already placed money aside, gold, silver, all of that. Gave it to God. He didn't reserve his money. He gave it to God. Solomon used that money to procure timber and other things that needed to be done, labor, yes, all this to build God's temple. Okay, if he did that, I'm sure he even had probably money left over. Then why did he exercise such a great heavy burden on his own countrymen? The reason is he wanted more money to build the fabulous cities, renowned cities, that all the known world would come and say, my, look what Solomon has built. Oh, he is such a great leader. Well, apparently somewhere he started going astray. And when you start putting more on the people they can bear, because the majority of the people up in those tribes in their homelands and things that God apportioned to them, a lot of them were nomads. They lived in tents. Well, they got the offers. See what I'm talking about? Sometimes the yoke gets heavy, okay? But here's what he said. And answered them after the advice of the young man, saying, my father made your yoke heavy. See? He even admitted that his dad made a yoke heavy, okay? Solomon. But I will add thereto, my father chastised you with whips. Apparently, if you didn't pay your due benevolence, had no money, they would lay the whip to you, and eventually, whatever you had, you would fork it over. Okay, but I will chastise you with scorpions. I mean, no, scorpions have stingers. Hmm? And a lot of times people will die from scorpions. So what he's doing, he's giving more or less a warning, telling you, I'll kill you if you don't line up and keep forking the money over to me now. And when all Israel saw that, the king would not hearken unto them. The people answered the king, saying, what portion have we in David? In other words, how in the world are we going to get blessed? Jerusalem. It's going to Jerusalem. It's going to Jerusalem. And we're getting nothing. And we have none inheritance in the son of Jesse. How many of you know what Jesse's, who he is? Huh? If you said it, you're right. It is the father of David. Okay? Now, and we have none inheritance in the son of Jesse. Every man to your tents, O Israel. Israel at the time referring to all the 10 tribes, which people refer as lost now. They're not lost. All right. And now, David, see to thine own house. So all Israel went to their what? Big fancy homes. No, it said to their tents. Find that where? 16. All right, now, 18. Then King Rehoboam sent Hadram, that was over the tribute. He was more or less the tax collector, the IRS, or whatever you want to call him today. And the children of Israel did what to him? Hugged and kissed him. Because, oh, look at it. He's coming in here and we have to give him money. No, that's not what it said. And the children of Israel stoned him with stone, that he died. Whoa. Now listen to what it says. But the king Rehoboam made speed. In other words, he put on his, got in his car and punched the floor wide open, you know. Could you see that? Donkey, chariot, horse, whatever. Where was he gone? He made speed to get him up to his chariot, right? To flee to where? Jerusalem. And Israel, in 19, rebelled against the house of David unto this day. Now, let's go on with this lesson. 2 Chronicles 11:1. And Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem. He gathered of the house of Judah and Benjamin, 2, thick as thieves, and 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors, to fight against Israel. Okay, yeah, well, they knew that was coming, that he might bring the kingdom again. Why? Back to Rehoboam. Oh, you wanted that money from him. That's all he was wanting. All right, now, this was a time when the 10 northern tribes departed from the house of David because they were overtaxed. Got it? They were overtaxed. Now, that I said that, I'm going to finish this part. You read it on for yourself, you'll find out they were all prepared for war. They were going to shoot out there. Oh, see, these people up there, they didn't have no vast army, because all the time Solomon was building an army around his own what? Countries. Not the 10 tribes. Jerusalem controlled what went down, and these people just trying to live. Okay. They gathered an army. They were going to attack them all. Their own brethren, man. They were going to go up to their own brethren and enslave them. But God turned them back and told them, no, you're not going to do that. In other words, get your hide back where you was. You leave them alone. Okay, now that I've said that, I got to give you something maybe similar in comparison. And I want you to think about that. If you don't comprehend totally what I just said, maybe you'll comprehend this. Now, it is sort of like here in West Virginia, Charleston, the capital, right? We got a capital, Charleston. Seems to benefit from all the counties around her. Yes or no? While we in our country, or our county rather, get the crumbs. I want you to think about this. It is on the backs of the poor that our great capital, with its gold dome, was what? Built? Yes. Okay. Also, from our state leaders through the state road, tells our state road people to use less salt on the road. Now, I know this for a fact, okay? They have an allotment each year they do, and they say, oh, hold the salt back to, oh no. That's why we see cinders on our roadway. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I saw time people wrecked because the cinders didn't get it, okay? The snow should have been melted off the roadway. But our policy in Clay County, don't put the salt down, don't put the salt down. Well, where'd they hear that from? They heard it from the Department of Highway in Charleston, West Virginia. Well, where's the salt going to be? Well, each year they're trying to cut our allotment down for it and said, well, that's your allotment. You'd have to do the best you can. Put your cinder down. Well, where did the salt go? Kanawha County, people. Kanawha County. While we here in the rural areas suffer. All right? Keep that in mind. Is there similarity what we're talking? Is there? Think on this. And this is why we use a cinder most of the time. All right. Charleston tells our state road people, don't use so much salt, what I just said, which each year allotment gets lower. Yes, it does. Now listen, I heard this from a horse's mouth years ago, so I'm not telling you something that's innuendos or lies or anything. This is the way the system works, okay? Now, here we go. And a lot of our off-roads are not paved or tarred and chipped. Do you remember we used to tar and chip the roadways, okay? Now, we had a governor, Archie Moore. He wanted to get reelected. And our roads were deplorable, I mean awful. Our secondary, especially our secondary road, you know, like Upper Sycamore, Lower Sycamore, Main where you got over 250 homes, you know. So Archie figured it out. You know what he did? He tarred and chipped. Throw that gravel on the tar and chip, which it kind of lasts a little bit. You know, gives a foundation. But the problem was people were wrecking. When they go around the curve, they wreck because they skidded off the gravel. Flopping in the creeks, flopping there. But see, he did it so that he would get your vote like he's really doing you something good and he's putting the asphalt like down. But it was all a lie and a charade. And the people fell for it. Oh, look, Archie's going to take care of us. He took care of you. Also, Archie did this. He would call up to Clay County at the courthouse and tell them, I need some money. Send me some of that tax money down here now. I need it. Well, what did our people in Clay do? Front the money down to them. How many of you remember the $2 tax on trees on your own property? Huh? Now, I know I'm getting deep here, but I'm going to ask you something. How many of you, what I call stoop mows, actually paid the $2? Huh? I bet you did. You know that's against the law? Your property, your trees. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if he wanted to really tax somebody, why didn't he go to all these thousands upon thousands of acres that's got timber on it that the coal company owns? I bet he didn't tell them, give me a little tax. This is what I'm talking about. They do what they want to, and when they need money, guess who they gouge? They gouge you, they gouge me. Probably cost him $1 just to send it out and say, hey, send me $2. This is your tax. Yeah. You do that, you're a bigger fool than I thought you were. Okay? No wonder you take the mark of the beast. All right. All they got to do, if they want to do something here, they can actually pave these secondary roads. If they'd done this a long time ago, we wouldn't have the problem we have now. Our road, Payne Hollow Road, they have to put gravel down. Well, every time it rains, we have to call them. The gravel washed away. The gravel washed away. Our road's not there anymore. Looks to me like even with tar and chip, it would hold the road and disperse the water. But do you think they think logically? No. Well, why is it that they come out here and in a year's time, they put down tons and tons of gravel and stuff up and down the hill? You know why? They write that off. Money's going somewhere, but it ain't going here. It ain't going here, people. All right. Taxation. Our taxes are going up every year. We're the only ones that can bleed and get money. We have no industry. So what do? They bleed us. Who? Older people mostly. Huh? Younger people rent. They don't give a squat. Who suffers? We do. We ought not be paying any kind of a tax at all on our property when we're old. My age, my wife's age. We should be able to live here in comfort and not worry every year that the taxes are going up and get nothing for the taxes. Well, what do you mean you're getting nothing for the taxes? You pay your tax? No, I pay our taxes. I get nothing. What does that mean? I don't have any gas lines going to us, so we don't have natural gas. Huh? We don't have a quality road that we go up and down. We call them all the time, and used to be. I think it's getting better, but we used to be. No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't come out. They took care of all the main drag and all that deal. We're the last ones, and there's people up in this area right here, up here, that actually work for a living. They're getting no benefit out of it, huh? We're lucky we get electricity. And you can't get basically cannot get what we refer to as a landline, okay? You know what that is? Cable, copper cables coming here, not having to pay for Wi-Fi and all this other stuff, just get phone service, okay? So now that's enough said on that. But you would think that our taxes would go down. No, they bleed it off of us. Okay, but they do not. The taxes don't go down. We are being taxed more for 2 acres, now listen, 2 acres with a small house on it, than probably 1,000 acres of coal company land. Prove me wrong. All right, I could go on, and I use this as a type of understanding for your benefit in our time that what was happening to the 10 tribes back then, why they said enough's enough. And the thing of it is, they're going to keep bleeding us and doing this. Next time we have a flood, take more houses out, our taxes are going to go up even more. And they got regulations already now that you can't live by really close to the river. You can't live by and have a propane tank nowhere near there. It's all regulation. In other words, you cannot borrow money if you are in a flood zone, okay? Bottom line. And if you do, you got to put it 8 foot in the air. That makes a lot of sense when you're 90 years old, don't it? All right, I've said enough this trip. If you agree with me, give me a little check somewhere along the line. Say, I believe what you're saying is true, Tom. Like I say, I'm not going to lie to you. God bless. I'll see you the next trip.